Tonight on CTV News, profiting from disaster.
In some cases, we can see like foreign countries that have like malicious intent toward Canada.
How BC wildfires are sparking misinformation with AI being used to cash in on misleading the public.
So we need to contact those homeowners who have lost their homes.
While families forced out by the Summerland fire grapple with loss, hundreds are able to return. And demolishing the site of so much heartbreak, Tumbler Ridge Secondary, the site of one of Canada's worst mass shootings, is being torn down.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us at this hour. 128 wildfires are burning in our province, and thousands are working hard to keep homes and people safe. As some begin to come to terms with what they've lost, misinformation experts are warning that some bad actors are trying to profit from the devastation. CTV's Penny Daflos explains.
The explosive Bald Range wildfire captured international attention with its displacement of thousands of Summerland residents. It's also been an opportunity for content creators to cash in.
Province that had already spent everything it had.
On YouTube and social media, there are multiple accounts citing BC wildfires as they try to build audiences.
Hit like and subscribe.
And online traffic.
If they can find a way to package and use some events to create a viral moment where people watch this, then they will make money. Some of these accounts, some of these channels are actually all created through AI.
Some of the content has a watermark or tiny label indicating it's created by artificial intelligence. There's no contact information for these particular accounts, which include misleading statements.
These AI videos and copy posts and all that sort of stuff, like they'll fool anyone.
The forest minister is frustrated by the trend.
I get a lot of words for people who make time out of their days to be able to confuse and scare people. They have way too much time on their hands, and there's a special place in hell for them.
Aside from the profit motive, natural disasters and emergencies are also opportunities for bad actors and foreign governments to plant misinformation or boost talking points that are beneficial to them.
It creates a story that the government is unable to provide help for Canadians.
For example, CTV News has been tracking the spread of posts questioning millions of dollars in Canadian aid to Ukraine, suggesting it could be used to buy water bombers here.
That usually kind of start to smell like how Russia would do this and warrants further investigation.
Online misinformation is on the Premier's radar.
I want to recognize the challenge of some of the misinformation that can circulate very quickly in the absence of official photographs, video, and so on that people can rely on, and especially in this era of AI imagery.
We are doing everything we can to give transparent and as close to real-time information on any of our fires.
A particularly important time to focus on official information rather than questionable online posts. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
The full extent of the damage from the Bald Range wildfire is still being assessed in Summerland tonight. But as more evacuees are allowed to return, there are also signs of hope and a sense of relief for some who feared the worst. CTV's Craig Krause has that story.
After weeks of uncertainty,
Nothing but fire. We're on evacuation alert right now.
a fast-moving fire forced Mike Stoller to brace for the worst.
We are on evacuation order. The flames are a kilometer and a half from here.
The winery owner was eventually one of more than 20,000 people forced from their homes. And over the weekend,
So I got a pass here, and Mike Stoller.
Stoller secured a temporary access pass and got the chance to see his property for himself.
Was there any damage?
So our property specifically encountered a small, every farm has a bit of a junky area where you stack, the old vineyard posts or whatever. So that got lit on fire somehow, came out relatively unscathed. So
Relief, as many residents remain waiting to see what has happened.
Our focus right now is getting people home, and that process has started. We had 400 properties returned on Friday and another 800 today.
The mayor says a building assessment has been completed and tough phone calls still have to be made.
So we need to contact those homeowners who have lost their homes before we let their neighbors back in. So we're doing that now.
The community is not out of the woods yet. The fire is burning across more than 21,000 hectares.
Continuing to make really good progress on the northern, eastern, and southern flanks of the fire. However, the western flank, particularly in that northwestern corner along the Princeton-Summerland Road corridor, continues to show more aggressive fire behavior.
Oh my God.
It's an emotional time for many as the community comes together during these tough times.
Choking up a little bit, but just, they're concerned. They're concerned for us and wanting to see us, bounce back. And we will do that. We will do that. We will be back stronger and better than we were before.
Craig Krause, CTV News.
It's a betting trend that is big business south of the border, and now online prediction markets where people put real money down on who they think will win are wading into our municipal elections. As CTV's Isabella Zaffarisi explains, critics are urging caution as the wagers might be more about hype than insight.
Prediction markets have taken off in the U.S. Sites including Kalshi and Polymarket let people put real money on just about anything.
Will Carg Island get invaded? This random account on Polymarket sure seems to think so.
Now, those same platforms are taking bets on the civic election in October.
A lot of this is based on vibes.
It's prompting reservations from critics.
Voters should be rather worried about the quality of the information they're getting out of these prediction markets. So there is every opportunity for people to try and manipulate these prices for partisan gain.
Polymarket has blocked several provinces from taking part, including BC. But people are finding ways around it, such as using a VPN or virtual private network. Right now, money is being placed on who will be the next mayor of Burnaby, Vancouver, and Surrey.
So the question is, who are these traders? And there is really good reason to think that these are local people who are following local politics.
The president of a public opinion firm says these prediction markets aren't polls and shouldn't be treated as such.
But if you don't know the difference, that is where the situation can be very detrimental, because voters are going to get an idea of what is happening, which isn't really backed by the data science that people like me have been using for decades.
He points to his own poll as an example. Before Research Co. published its Vancouver mayoral results on August 4th, opposition candidates were sitting atop the prediction market.
And then William Asaroff is in fourth place. So is this the poll moving the market? Is the market reacting to the poll? Or is this really the wisdom of the crowd, as these guys like to say?
Canadian regulators say they're monitoring these markets and plan to issue further guidance in the future. Isabella Zaffarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
A one-year-old grizzly bear is back in his enclosure tonight after escaping at the Calgary Zoo. But exactly how did Fitz manage to get out to wander the grounds? That story in just a few minutes. But first, let's check in with Anne. After we see this hazy sky, I mean, we've seen sort of varying degrees of haziness the last few days. Looks like it's settling in there.
Yes, it sure does. Hopefully, it doesn't last very long. We are expected it to clear as we head into tomorrow afternoon. But yes, the haze will last as we head through this evening and tomorrow morning. Here's a look at temperatures across the lower mainland right now. 21 at the harbor. You're looking at 23 degrees in Burnaby. Warmer in Pitt Meadows at 24 degrees, and even warmer in Chilliwack at 27 degrees. So through the overnight, we will see a few clouds at 14 degrees. Tomorrow, hazy skies in the morning. Hopefully clears out quite nicely. Through the afternoon, we'll see temperatures between 23 degrees near the water, 27 degrees further inland. And some good news, we are expected to see some wet weather in the forecast. I'll let you know when we can expect that coming up with full details.
Sounds good. We definitely need that rain.
We sure do.
All right, thanks, Anne. A woman on Vancouver Island is recovering after being attacked by a bear while trying to protect her dog. It's a second bear attack this summer involving a dog and its owner. CTV's Brendan Strain has more on the precautions dog owners are being urged to take.
Stony Hill Regional Park is closed to the public after a bear attack. The incident happened Friday morning, involving a mother bear, her cub, a trail user, along with her off-leash dog. The pair were hiking the trail and encountered the bears, prompting the sow to attack the dog to protect her cub. The woman intervened, with BC Conservation Services saying she sustained undisclosed injuries from the bear.
The behavior associated with this is definitely defensive.
It's not the first time this season an incident like this has happened. Nearly 1 month ago, a man was injured near Cumberland after finding himself and his off-leash dog between a mother bear and her cub.
My heart goes out to the dog and their guardian, just for having this sort of scary interaction. It is one of the things that we can expect when we go into a wilderness area.
She says this time of year, sows are testy and nervous with people and dogs. There are precautions, though, that you can take to avoid a negative interaction.
Make sure you know about any leash regulations and to make sure you follow those regulations. They're in place for a reason, to keep wildlife safe and to keep people and their pets safe.
Wallace says to also make sure you have trained your dog on an emergency recall.
It's that one word that the dog should know that under any circumstances, no matter how interesting something can be, they're going to come right back to you.
Finally, walk in groups and carry bear spray just in case.
If there's a branch or a tool that you could wave around and sort of make yourself look big and scary, that will also help.
Wallace says black bears don't want anything to do with people or their pets. And if you take the proper precautions when hiking in the backcountry, everyone should stay safe. BC Conservation Services says no effort will be made to locate or capture the bear and her cub. Brendan Strain, CTV News, North Cowichan.
A rare visitor is roaming the backcountry near Lions Bay. Search and rescue crews are warning hikers after a grizzly bear was spotted several times in the area recently. The grizzly has most recently been seen near Deeks Lake, but crews say it could be anywhere as the animals can travel significant distances. Hikers and campers are being urged to keep dogs leashed, secure all food and waste, and carry bear spray. None of the people who have spotted the bear have reported any aggressive behavior. A grizzly bear escaped its habitat at the Calgary Zoo over the weekend. The orphaned cub managed to climb up and over an electrified enclosure, but didn't wander far. Staff tranquilized him before the facility opened, but the incident has people once again asking questions about the zoo's management. CTV's Tyler Barrow has more.
1-year-old Fitz made the difficult dash for freedom, but he didn't stray far from his grizzly bear habitat over the weekend. Around 7:30 Sunday morning, staff noticed the large carnivore wasn't in his enclosure with his brother Turner. It's not clear when Fitz escaped. It could have been overnight or only hours, but emergency procedures were activated and he was quickly found.
Thanks to the swift coordination response, Fitz was anesthetized and he was safely relocated back to his back-of-house space.
No guests, staff members, volunteers, or animals were injured. The zoo's initial investigation points to him climbing up his 10-foot fence, past an overhang, and even a hot wire. Fitz accessed an area just outside and above his habitat.
This is insane. Like, a grizzly escaping.
Just thought it was crazy and scary because grizzlies are, they can be very aggressive.
Oh my God, a grizzly. That's like not a survivable bear to encounter.
One retired large carnivore conflict biologist suggests the animal's curiosity likely motivated the escape.
If there was any kind of a weakness, it wouldn't surprise me that a bear would find that.
Animal Protection Agency ZooCheck says zoo habitat escapes happen, but this could have ended much worse.
Had that bear gotten out during time when the public was there, there could have been a serious incident.
The organization also cites animal deaths due to human error and other mishaps at the zoo, including a gorilla once grabbing a knife.
It is distressing to see that incidents continue at one of the larger, more esteemed zoos in the country.
Meanwhile, the zoo assures people it is a safe place to visit.
He had to have gone through some of that, and that was not comfortable for him. So he had some yucky moments trying to get out of that habitat.
A truck driver from Calgary has been busted for speeding through a construction zone in BC's Nicola Valley while hauling a full load of 9 vehicles. The driver was pulled over July 31st after being clocked going 109 kilometers an hour in a 60 zone near Merritt. An inspection later found problems with the truck's brakes and tires. The 53-year-old was fined more than $1,000 and the truck was impounded for 7 days. A big step in healing for Tumbler Ridge residents. The school where the mass shooting took place is being demolished. What it means for the community. Also ahead.
I don't want anyone else to have to face this same slap in the face.
A family that lost everything in a wildfire near the Okanagan Lake is stunned they're being asked to pay a whopping fee to cancel their cable for a home that's no longer standing. When CTV News at 6 continues, stay with us. That is the moment lightning struck the top of the Calgary Tower over the weekend, followed by a loud thunderclap. The 191-meter tower is equipped with lightning rods and a protection system designed to direct the current to the ground to prevent injury and damage. A couple who lost everything in the Bradley Creek wildfire near Vernon is now facing a new challenge. They say their internet and cable provider is now making them pay cancellation fees for a service they don't have a home for. CTV's Amanda Anderson has more.
This video was taken August 1st on the west side of Lake Okanagan of Greg Brown's home on the Okanagan Indian Band lands.
There was 5 planes and 2 helicopters that were working on this grass fire, and we felt they might be able to get it before the winds kicked up, and they did not. That's a line of people evacuating.
Brown and his wife were forced to flee as the Bradley Creek wildfire approached.
It went from we should do this just in case to a fire truck flying through our park, honking his horn and saying, "Get out now," in a matter of minutes.
They still haven't been allowed back, but Brown says he's seen several photos of the community they called home for nearly a decade wiped out by the fire.
Total loss. I mean, other than we got both of our cars out and, as I mentioned, a few pieces of luggage and a few mementos.
They then began the task of canceling services like their cable and internet for a home no longer standing.
My wife called to cancel our Rogers account, which is internet and cable at our house. And she was told, despite our situation, that we would have to pay $660 of fee to disconnect. So we just signed a 2-year contract weeks before the fire. And they said $660 to cancel it outright, or pay us $10 a month to hold the account until you land somewhere again.
CTV News reached out to Rogers. A spokesperson says it has a policy in these types of situations and cancellation fees should have been waived. It says it's looking into why the Browns were told otherwise. The company would not provide a copy of the policy to CTV News or say when it went into effect. Late this afternoon, the Browns say they got a call from Rogers and were told they could now cancel without any fees. Equipment charges would also be waived.
Others may not have been so lucky, and I don't want anyone else to have to face this same slap in the face when they've just lost everything.
The Browns can now focus on rebuilding their lives and home. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
An emotional milestone for Tumbler Ridge today as crews began tearing down the community's secondary school. The building was the site of a mass shooting in February that killed 5 children and an education assistant. The 18-year-old shooter also died inside the school after killing 2 family members at home. Ottawa and the province have pledged $200 million to build a replacement school, removing a painful reminder of the tragedy.
I think our community is in different stages of grieving and hurting. And, when I communicate with a lot of the families that have lost loved ones, I think, I won't say this helps with their grieving, but it puts them into a different stage of that. So to me, that's significant.
In a way, it feels like it's been a long time in coming. On the other hand, it's only been 6 months since this tragedy. And so I think what I sensed when I was in the community this morning, and from reading some of the comments online today, is just a sense of relief that the building that was the site of this tragedy will be removed.
The school district says it will take a few weeks to demolish the site and restore it to grass. In the meantime, students are attending classes in portables at the local elementary school. The man accused in the killing of a Vancouver taxi driver in 2022 has pleaded guilty to manslaughter. The BC Prosecution Service telling CTV News today that Jordan Daniel Conway entered the guilty plea back in June. Conway also pleaded guilty to breaching a release order. He's due back in court next month to set a date for sentencing. What the war on Iran is doing to inflation in Canada, from gas to food, the impact on our wallets also coming up.
We're going to continue working. Our job is not yet done.
Trade negotiations are coming down to the wire. Wednesday is when the U.S. hits Canada with a new wave of tariffs. What the Prime Minister is saying about the looming deadline ahead. We are now less than 48 hours until proposed new U.S. tariffs will be imposed on a variety of Canadian products unless a deal is reached between the two countries. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney said he will be talking to Donald Trump before Wednesday's deadline. CTV's Mike LeCouture reports.
Happy birthday. How are talks going with Canada?
Trade talks went to a new level and a new location today.
Hi, Minister. Hi, Minister. How are you?
Canadian and American trade representatives took negotiations to the office of Howard Lutnick, and the U.S. Commerce Secretary sat in on the 1 hour and 45-minute long meeting. It's the longest the two sides have negotiated since talks intensified over the last 2 weeks.
Ambassador Beer, is there a deal with Canada?
When the two sides emerged, it was clear there's more left to do.
We're going to continue working. Our job is not yet done. Thank you.
How do you feel it's going, Minister?
What's the biggest sticking point, Minister?
A part of that work could be done by Prime Minister Mark Carney, who said he intends to speak with U.S. President Donald Trump at this stage of the negotiations, which he's described as delicate and intense.
Frankly, we'll have opportunities over the next 48 hours to discuss in more detail as the negotiations go forward, and I think that's the best forum.
Canadian officials tell CTV News the relief on sectoral tariffs being offered by the U.S. doesn't go far enough. Lowering tariffs on the steel, aluminum, auto, and lumber sectors has been a key demand by Canada, and the level of tariffs is a matter of survival for the automotive industry.
10-15%, especially if it's baked in, especially if it's long-term, those companies will give up.
One U.S. source says the American side might consider a 12.5% tariff on autos.
Ontario will be prepared for any and every scenario. But this is why I have been pushing so hard for a united Team Canada response to this attack.
The deadline for a deal is less than 48 hours away and could impact up to $28 billion worth of Canadian exports to the U.S. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce says that would be devastating for small and medium-sized businesses. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Washington.
The ongoing U.S.-Iran conflict is a driving force behind higher gas prices in Canada and a rise in inflation. The annual rate rose to 3% in July, up from 2.8% in June, and higher than economists had predicted. Gas prices were up more than 25% from a year ago across the country. Nova Scotia had the highest inflation rate at 5%, and Ontario had the lowest at 2%. Here in BC, it was 2.9%. The latest inflation numbers show there's been some relief at grocery stores, but shoppers say they are still feeling the pinch. According to Stats Canada, food inflation dropped to 3.1% in July, down from 3.9% the previous month. Prices for chicken, cereal, and fresh vegetables dropped slightly, while fresh fruit is now more expensive. And a quick grocery run shows just how far your dollar goes. This small grocery haul costs just under $100. Shoppers say the high cost of food has forced them to be more creative when planning their meals.
Try to buy in bulk, try to freeze things, do a lot of freezing, doing a lot of Googling of what can be frozen, for how long.
I feel for a lot of people, families in particular, and people on fixed incomes.
Many shoppers say when prices do go down a bit, they don't even notice the difference. And it's forced them to shop around for deals, be selective, and only buy the essential items they need. Staff at an animal rescue were scratching their heads when they saw the two pups born to a pub looking nothing like them. Also ahead.
This is like winning the World Cup of the bagpiping world.
Prize-winning pipers, how the SFU pipe band marched their way to victory at a prestigious international competition, even surprising themselves. That's ahead.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. Cruising down Burrard Street towards Canada Place under sunny blue skies in downtown Vancouver.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
A rescue organization in California has a little moostery on its hands. A pug named Millie has given birth to 2 puppies who look a lot more like tiny cows than their mom. The black and white pups, named Tilly and Bessie, were found with their mom living under someone's porch. All 3 are healthy and now in foster care. The rescue isn't sure where the pups got their distinctive markings, but a DNA test could soon provide some answers. And what do you think? Dad maybe was a Dalmatian?
Yeah, I'm thinking Daddy's a Dalmatian of some sort, or even possibly a Frenchie mix in there with those markings. But yeah, I can't wait to see what the DNA comes back with.
Yeah, too bad they look nothing like Mom, who has to do all the work, right?
I know, it's not always the case, unfortunately. But congratulations to Millie, and I'm sure they'll get all adopted soon. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Smoky skies out there today, but here's a look at our almanac. We saw a high of 21.1 degrees, slightly below the seasonal average, and that's what we had overnight as well, slightly below the seasonal average of 14.3 degrees. And we only have 2 more weeks of the month left, and look at that, we've only seen 2.7 millimeters of rain. On average, we see 36.1 millimeters. The hot spot across the country, right here in BC, once again, Lytton at 35.7 degrees, not close enough to the record set back in 2022 at 39.7 degrees. So we have a ridge of high pressure for the south coast. Weak system moving in towards the north coast, bringing in some showers to start off the day, but it does dry up quite nicely. You do have warnings still in place for air quality in orange right now, only Fraser Canyon, Nicola, which means the air quality is getting better, but still under a yellow warning for the rest of the southern interior. So limit your outdoor activities, stay cool, and stay hydrated. For us, the smoke is expected to clear. As you can see on our smoke forecast, we'll see more in the way of blue sky than hazy skies as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Mix of sun and cloud for the central coast and central interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. We'll see sunny breaks for Port Hardy tomorrow with 19 degrees. Blue skies, sunshine, and 25s for Campbell River and Comox. For the South Island, a mix of sun and cloud for Tofino and 18 degrees. Other than that, mostly sunny skies from Port Alberni right down to Victoria with temperatures between 23 and 29. Sunshine for the Sunshine Coast and 24. Touch warmer up the Sea to Sky Highway, 26 for Squamish, 27 for Whistler, and for us across the Lower Mainland. A hazy start tomorrow with temperatures between 23 near the water, 27 degrees inland. Seasonal temperatures at 22 on Wednesday under a mix of sun and cloud. Gets warmer for Thursday and Friday with temperatures between 24 and 29 degrees. And we'll see a few showers on Saturday. Rain in the morning on Sunday before it clears out. A cool 21. And then Monday will start off cloudy, but it does clear up with a sunny afternoon and 23 degrees. So we're hoping we can see some substantial rain, but right now it's looking pretty light with some showers.
Yeah, I can't believe how below the average we are.
2.1 millimeters of rain. That's it in the past 17 days.
That's nothing.
Nothing at all.
Okay, we'll see what happens on the weekend. All right, thanks, Anne. It is a major win for BC and Canada on the international stage. The most prestigious bagpiping competition on the planet was held in Scotland, and the team from SFU clearly impressed the judges. CTV's Sinjin Alexander has the story.
In the world of pipe bands, it doesn't get any bigger than this. These are the best of the best. 2 days of breathtaking yet grueling competition, the pinnacle of the piping calendar.
Simon Fraser University Pipe Band from Canada.
This year, the team from Simon Fraser University wowed the crowd. The players seemed to click, firing on all cylinders. That's Pipe Major Alan Bevan.
There was a cohesion to this group this year that I'm not sure I've felt it in other years, but I'm not sure I've ever felt it this much. All 4 performances felt really solid. People came off with a smile on their face, and as leader, it felt, never feels easy, but it felt like nothing was going to go off the rails.
The judges agreed. SFU's performance was top class and were chosen world champions. Craig Sutherland is the pipe major.
This is like winning the World Cup of the bagpiping world.
No small feat considering 6 other teams were favorites, positioned to take it all.
We kind of come out of nowhere from the west coast of Canada.
We won't call you the upset, but was it a surprise?
It probably was. It was a bit of a surprise to me, to be honest.
In a win not only for country, but family too. Bevan's wife and sons are in the band. So is Sutherland's spouse. All of them live in British Columbia.
It means the world to us to get over there and compete and to get such a fantastic result.
After all, the last time a team outside the United Kingdom won was way back in 2010. St. Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
It's a sport growing in popularity, making its Olympic debut in LA in 2 years. Some high-profile names from the BC Lions are hoping to be part of the team. Also ahead.
By putting it in someone's purse or in their jacket or in a vehicle.
Devices that people use to find their belongings can also be used by criminals to stalk people. What police are saying ahead on CTV News at 6. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 72 cents to the American dollar. Oil up $2.10, closing the day at $84.50 a barrel. Gold gained nearly $37 on the day, and the TSX down 62 points. The Dow Jones down 272 points. People living in the East Kootenay have changed their clocks for the last time. The regional district, which includes Cranbrook, Kimberley and Fernie, has voted to remain on permanent mountain daylight time. The decision comes after months of debate and public consultation. In March, a decision to stay on Mountain Standard Time to align with most of BC was met with pushback. In follow-up surveys, 89% of respondents preferred to stop changing the time semi-annually. Staying on daylight time will keep the region in the same time zone as Alberta year-round. A new warning is out tonight about trackers. The devices are used to help find keys, wallets, even pets. But they can also be used by criminals, and police say lately they've had some reports about people discovering unknown devices. CTV's Alexandra Hollick has the story.
Whether they're attached to your keys or stored in your suitcase, smart trackers are designed to find your belongings in seconds. But in the wrong hands, they can be used for something far more sinister.
As a stalking device, by putting it in someone's purse or in their jacket or in a vehicle, and then tracking the motions of that individual.
The device is easy to get and doesn't cost much, but police warn it could put someone's privacy and safety at risk.
We could see it in criminal harassment cases where perhaps intimate partner violence may be an issue, or any type of person-on-person crime. It could be used in a situation where maybe a vehicle is being tracked to see when it's being unoccupied as an opportunity.
This is one example of just how small these smart tracking devices can be, and drivers are urged to check their vehicles for unknown tags regularly. This tracker could be found in here, behind here, in here, or under here.
When people are putting these things into a vehicle, they're not there for a long amount of time. They kind of want to be in and out quickly. So that's why it's anywhere that's quick accessible, but also hidden at the same time.
Sometimes your phone will notify you if an unknown tracker is nearby. As for where you can be tracked,
geography doesn't really matter. That tag, wherever it is, if it's placed on you, it can essentially follow you around the world.
If you do come across a tag, don't panic and don't touch it.
Pull over somewhere safe, somewhere well lit, somewhere where there's lots of people, and notify the police.
There could be information on there, or depending on where it was located, it helps the investigation.
A smart solution to try and stop bad actors in their tracks. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Kitchener.
A new employment program is helping people in BC who are blind or have low vision build careers through training and paid work experience. The federal government is providing more than $840,000 to support the Canadian National Institute for the Blind's Come to Work program in New Westminster, Kelowna, Prince George, and Victoria. Up to 16 people will receive skills training, paid work placements, and job support through April of next year. A Victoria woman says when she lost most of her vision, she also lost a lot of her confidence, and the program helped her gain it back.
Vision loss can touch anybody, and also vision loss doesn't tell us about what someone is capable of. I myself had to learn that when I first experienced sight loss. Having the right tools and supports available is critical, though, because it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
The CNIB says nearly 250,000 British Columbians have sight loss, and only about 2 in 5 are employed, often because of inaccessible workplaces, technology barriers, and misconceptions about disability. Still to come tonight, we'll introduce you to Ginny Lou, the winner of this year's World's Ugliest Dog Contest. Plus, Ron's recovery. Adam meets a man on a creative journey after a debilitating accident. Coming up on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's Carrie with a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
Tuesday on Your Morning Vancouver, how are you feeling about the political future of the province? We have new polling that dives into our political leaders and the parties they represent. Also, new research shows a troubling gap between British Columbians' intentions to protect their health and the actions they're actually taking ahead of respiratory illness season. And embracing single life. SFU research shows you might be better off not searching for Mr. Right. We'll see you in the morning.
Jan Arden is officially a wife. The Canadian singer-songwriter got married on Saturday to Icelandic author and activist Thordis Elva. Photos posted to social media show the pair dressed in white wedding attire with the caption, "Wife and Wife." Canada is heading to the Olympics in a sport making its debut on the world's biggest stage. Both national flag football teams have qualified for the 2028 Games in Los Angeles. And there's a BC connection at quarterback. CTV's Chris Wiggins has that story.
One of the world's fastest growing sports is about to get its biggest spotlight yet. Flag football will make its Olympic debut in Los Angeles in 2028, and Canada is in.
End zone first, and here comes a Kemi Higa on 4th down. Higa end zone, no! Off the mark, looking for Madison Fulford, and Canada has done it!
At the World Championships in Dusseldorf, Germany, Canada earned 2 trips to LA. The women capped off a dominant tournament by beating the U.S. 27-20 for gold, while the men stormed back, erasing a deficit against Mexico, before winning 34-26 in overtime to claim bronze and an Olympic spot.
Maybe this is a niche sport. No, actually, it's a sport everybody can play. Oh, actually, it's something we might be the best at in the world.
The success didn't happen overnight. Ferguson says the sport has been building momentum for years. And one player helping lead that charge has a familiar name in BC football. Team Canada's quarterback Michael O'Connor won a Vanier Cup with the UBC Thunderbirds in 2015, then spent some time in the CFL, including a season with the BC Lions.
It just means the world to us to represent our country on a global stage and make Canada proud, and just, do it for our families and do it for the country. So we take a lot of pride in wearing the maple leaf.
And O'Connor may not be the only BC football name to watch for. Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke has also expressed interest in representing Canada in flag football, potentially giving the men's program another high-profile talent as it builds towards LA.
It's all about pre-snap reading, diagnosing, and then accurate delivery. Well, that's Nathan Rourke.
The Canadian women are world champions, the men bronze medalists. And after punching their tickets to Los Angeles, Canada will help introduce flag football to the Olympic stage. Chris Wiggins, CTV News, Vancouver.
A surprising admission from one of the biggest soccer stars on the planet, Cristiano Ronaldo, telling Vogue magazine that this will probably be his last year playing football and that he wants to leave a, quote, spectacular legacy. The 41-year-old has been playing for over 2 decades and has been a key component of Portugal's national team. It's time for the tugboat in the Bay Area. The San Francisco Giants have just called up Vancouver native Matt Tugboat Wilkinson from AAA Sacramento. The 6'1" lefty has risen through the Giants minor league system this year, traveling all the way to the majors from the Arizona Coast League. It's an exciting week for girls hockey in BC as the Vancouver Golden Eyes host their second ever youth summer camp with 4 players joining as guest coaches.
It's so special for them to know that we're here as role models, we're here as regular people as well that they can look up to and just ask questions and keep dreaming.
Jen Gardner, along with fellow forwards Katie Chan and Gabby Rosenthal, plus Captain Ashton Bell, are helping coach the two-day camp in Surrey. It's open to girls aged 7 to 14 and includes training both on and off the ice. Since last year's summer camp, the Golden Eyes have worked with more than 1,000 youth and adult players through various programs aimed at growing girls hockey in BC. A wildlife sanctuary in Kamloops is sharing some good news that came out of a difficult loss this summer. These tiny hatchlings are the offspring of a western painted turtle that was brought to the Fawcett Family Wildlife Health Center in June after being hit by a vehicle. Although their mother couldn't be saved, staff discovered she was carrying 5 eggs and placed them in an incubator. All 5 have now hatched and will remain in care until they're ready to be released in nearby Turtle Valley, the actual name of the place their mother was found.
Oh my gosh, they're little swimming.
How adorable.
So cute.
Very adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, something good came out of a bad accident.
Exactly.
Okay, a rescue pug is making headlines after taking home the big prize at an unusual annual competition. Ginny Lou and her big floppy tongue took home the trophy and the $5,000 grand prize after being crowned the world's ugliest dog. The California contest, now in its 50th year, promotes pet adoption while celebrating the uniqueness of every dog. Ginny Lou was adopted after being rescued from South Korea's dog meat trade and narrowly missed the crown last year with a second-place finish.
She's
no
beautiful.
relation to Lucy Lou, my dog, but Lucy's goal is to have her tongue like that.
Yeah, and then she could win that contest. But you know, ugliness, it's all in the eye of the beholder.
It should be called the unique dog contest, not the ugly dog contest, because Ginny is not ugly.
You don't listen to what anyone says, Ginny. You're beautiful.
I think she knows it. Okay, we'll get to the Sawatsky sign-off in a moment. First, Lauren, what's coming up tonight on the late news?
Oh, Mijung, we'll have more reaction from Tumbler Ridge tonight as demolition of the secondary school has now started and a heritage building up in flames. The scary scene unfolding on Vancouver Island and why people staying at a hostel in the building say they are extremely lucky.
Some scary moments there. Okay, thank you, Lauren. Finally, Adam meets a Port Coquitlam man who has refused to let a life-changing injury stop him from creating. Instead, he is adapting his passion for art while finding a new outlook on life. On tonight's Encore Sawatsky sign-off.
To appreciate where Ron Friesen is heading on the path of life, we need to rewind to when he was lying on a road lifeless, surrounded by strangers.
And you can't move, so all you see are feet, but you can hear them. And somebody said, "Is he dead?"
And when you're this close to death after a motorcycle accident, you can't help but think back on the life you've lived.
When cars still had steel dashboards, my mother was taking me to the art gallery.
For as long as he can recall, Ron's been painting pictures, taking photographs, and making music.
Something makes you feel something, and you want to express that feeling to someone else.
And if you ask him to express how it felt after the accident caused a debilitating spinal cord injury,
ouch,
Ron will tell you it's like flipping your canoe in the middle of a lake without a life jacket.
You can try and swim. You're going to look one way and see which way's closer, and you're going to try and make it.
And thanks to support from his healthcare workers and family members, Ron learned to do almost everything again, including walking. But making art again was different because of permanent nerve damage in his fingers.
It's frustrating, but it's the way it is.
He can't feel the buttons on his camera, the pain makes him struggle to strum his guitar, and he can't consistently control the paint on a canvas.
Making it go one way, and all of a sudden there's this little stitch.
But Ron is refusing to give up on his passions.
It's not going to get better because you're miserable about yourself.
But it can get better, Ron says, if you're determined to learn new ways of doing things.
And you stand back and you go, okay, I can work with that.
And rather than looking back, Ron is moving forward, along a path that may be unexpected, but in a direction that couldn't be more positive.
Rather than wish it wasn't the way it is, just be grateful for what you do have.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Port Coquitlam.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Very inspiring attitude that he has.
Amazing optimism, too.
Yeah, great reminder. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight, where the smoke meets the sky in Nakas. Thanks, Francis, for sending this beautiful photo in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well, so email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. That's all the time we have for CTV News at 6. Lauren's back tonight at 11:30. Good night.